You are here because you want change. You want to understand how to create what you desire. You want to know why some seem to manifest with ease while others struggle. You want to learn the principle that governs all creation. What I share now is not superstition or blind optimism. It is not chance or luck. It is not something that sometimes works and sometimes fails. It is law. Just as gravity does not choose when to operate, this law is always at work. It responds to you with perfect fidelity. It cannot be bribed, persuaded, or avoided. It simply delivers to you the world in the shape of your assumptions. The law of assumption states that what you assume to be true becomes your reality. Not what you merely want or wish for, but what you accept inwardly with conviction as true. Your world is your consciousness pushed out. It is the reflection of your persistent beliefs and assumptions. Look at your life, and you will see your inner state objectified. This is not magic. It is not about begging the universe to grant you favors. It is about recognizing that you are always assuming something, and that these assumptions shape everything you experience. You may say you want wealth while assuming poverty. You may wish for love while assuming rejection. You may hope for success while assuming failure. It is your dominant assumption that will manifest. So ask yourself honestly, what are you assuming right now? What truth are you accepting without question? Because that is the seed from which your world will grow. This is law, precise, unfailing. Change your assumption and you will change your world. You must understand that the law does not judge or question your assumption. It does not ask if you deserve what you hold in mind. It simply takes what you accept as true and brings it forth into your world. This is why so many remain in cycles of struggle. They accept limitation without realizing it. They speak constantly of what they cannot do, what they cannot have, and what is impossible. Their world faithfully reflects these quiet, persistent beliefs. You might believe that life is unfair or that circumstances have power over you, but even that is an assumption. Held long enough, it becomes the very condition you see around you. To use this law consciously, you must become aware of what you are assuming at every moment. Listen to your inner conversations. Notice what images you entertain when you are quiet. Observe what you automatically expect. These movements of mind shape your outer world. Nothing happens to you that you have not first accepted within yourself. Your reality is molded by your imagination and held in place by your belief. When you adopt a new assumption that matches your desire, you create a change in consciousness. If you remain faithful to it, even when your senses show you the old reality, your world must eventually reflect the new state. This is not about wishing idly. It is about claiming that your desire is already yours and living from that conviction. You must be willing to hold that new state firmly, regardless of appearances. This is why it is called law. It does not waver. It does not pick and choose. It responds exactly to the assumption you hold. When you understand this, you see there is no one to change but self. And in changing your assumption, you change your entire world. Look at your world carefully, and you will see it as a mirror. It shows you what you have been assuming all along. Your conditions, your relationships, your opportunities, they are all the effect. The cause is within you. Most people try to change the effect while leaving the cause untouched. They want better circumstances, more money, greater love, without changing the assumptions that produce their current world. But the law is clear. You cannot change the outer without first changing the inner. If you see yourself as limited, the world must continue to show you limitations. If you see yourself as abundant, the world must find ways to express that abundance to you. It will appear through channels you may never have predicted. You may think it is others who hold power over you, or circumstances that rule your fate. But these are only reflections of your own accepted beliefs. As within, so without. If you want true change, you must begin by assuming that the change has already occurred. You must live in imagination as though you are already the person you want to be. You must persist in that state even when your senses show you evidence to the contrary. This is not about forcing the outer world to change by effort. It is about resting in the knowing that once you have assumed it, the law is already at work. You may not see the results immediately, but they will come. For your present circumstances are simply the result of past assumptions. If you want a new future, plant new assumptions now. Tend to them faithfully, and you will see them grow. Your reality cannot help but conform to the state you occupy within. This is the promise and the certainty of the law. Once you understand that assumption is creation, your task becomes very clear. You must live from the end. This means you no longer look to your senses to determine what is real. You no longer ask, where is it? Why hasn't it come? When will it happen? Instead, you assume that it is already done, and you carry yourself accordingly. The end is the state in which your desire is already fulfilled. And when you assume that state, when you feel from it, think from it, imagine from it, then the law must bring it into form. This is not about pretending in the way a child might pretend without belief. It is about fully accepting within that the thing you desire is already yours. You become one with that version of yourself who already has it. Suppose you desired wealth. You would ask yourself, how would I feel if I were already wealthy? How would I walk? How would I speak? How would I carry myself? And then you begin to live from that feeling. Or if you desired love, you would ask, how would I feel if I were already deeply loved and chosen? And you would dwell in that feeling, not as a wish, but as a fact. This is not pretending you have something you do not. It is accepting that in the deeper reality of consciousness, it is already done, and the outer world is simply catching up. When you hold to the end and persist in the assumption of your fulfilled desire, the law responds. Not sometimes, not if it is convenient, always. You need only occupy the state and remain there. The how, the when, the through whom, that is not your concern. Your only task is to assume it is done and rest in that knowing. Many ask, how long must I hold this assumption before I see results? They look for signs, for changes, for proof that it is working. But the law requires faithfulness, not constant questioning. You do not plant a seed and dig it up each day to see if it is growing. You plant it, and you trust that in its own time it will break through the soil. So it is with your assumptions. If you abandon the new state at the first sign of difficulty or contradiction, you simply return to the old assumption, and your world continues to mirror that old state. Persistence means remaining faithful to the end you have chosen, regardless of appearances. When the senses scream it is not so, you remain unmoved within. You return again and again to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This is not about straining or forcing. It is about relaxing into the certainty that what you have assumed must come to pass. You need not know how it will happen. You simply rest in knowing that it will. Life will arrange itself in ways you cannot predict to make your assumption fact. Opportunities will appear. People will play their parts. Circumstances will shift. But all of that is the effect. The true cause is your sustained assumption. This is why you must not be swayed by the evidence of the senses. They only reflect what you previously assumed to be true. If you want a new outcome, you must hold to the new assumption until it hardens into fact. And it will. For this is the certainty of the law. The feeling you attach to your assumption is the engine that powers manifestation. It is not enough to merely think the thought. You must feel it as real, as present, as already accomplished. Feeling is the language of the subconscious. The subconscious cannot distinguish between what is imagined vividly and what is real. When you impress it with feeling, you plant a seed that grows unseen until it appears in your world. Consider this. When you imagine a scene with emotion, your mind accepts it as fact. This acceptance rewires your consciousness. It replaces old beliefs with new realities. It sets the wheels of change in motion. If you desire success, imagine the feeling of success now. See yourself experiencing it. Feel the pride, the joy, the peace it brings. Make that feeling so real, it overshadows any contrary evidence. This feeling will influence your thoughts and actions. You will naturally behave as a person who already has what they desire. Your world will respond accordingly. Without feeling, your assumptions remain weak and ineffective. With feeling, they become irresistible forces that move the universe. Therefore, cultivate feeling as the heart of your practice. To truly embody your assumption, you must engage your imagination fully and with intent. Visualization is not idle daydreaming or wishful thinking. It is a conscious and deliberate act of creation, the language through which you speak directly to your subconscious mind. When you close your eyes and see the scene that implies your desire fulfilled, you are planting a seed in the fertile soil of your consciousness. This seed is not a fantasy, but a blueprint for reality to follow. It may be a clear image of yourself in a new home, holding the money you seek, or sharing deep connection and love. The details matter: the colors, the sounds, the textures, the very atmosphere of the scene. But beyond the visual, you must feel it. Feel the satisfaction, the peace, the gratitude, and the joy that come from already having what you desire. This feeling is the power behind your visualization. It impresses itself deeply on your subconscious and moves the law into action. Understand this clearly. The law of assumption is not magic or chance. It is a natural, unchanging principle that governs creation itself. Your imagination is the cause, and your reality is the effect. Visualization, when done with feeling and persistence, is the method through which you impress the cause onto your being. The law requires no force or struggle. It requires no frantic effort or desperation. It requires the quiet certainty of the fulfilled wish, lived in the mind and felt in the heart. This is the steady flame that transforms your inner world. And because your outer world must correspond, it will rearrange itself accordingly. You might wonder why manifestations sometimes appear slowly. This is because the outer world moves more slowly to reflect the inner change. Circumstances and people take time to align with the new assumption. But if your visualization and feeling remain constant, the law cannot fail. Be patient and faithful. Persist in your inner acts of creation with joy and assurance. Remember that you are not at the mercy of the outer world. You are the cause of your reality. And your imagination, when disciplined and filled with feeling, is the ultimate tool you wield. Now, remember this with absolute clarity. The law of assumption is not magic, nor is it luck. It is a natural principle that works without fail. It is neither random nor uncertain. Your role is not to doubt or wonder if it will work. Your role is to assume your desire is already fulfilled and persist in that state. Every moment of faith and feeling strengthens the power within you. Every surrender to doubt only delays the inevitable manifestation. Know this deeply. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are the cause of all that appears around you. Your imagination is the creative workshop where your world takes shape. The law answers precisely to the image and feeling you hold within. When you hold steady and live from the end, your reality must conform. There is no power greater than the law working in this way. You do not need to chase or struggle. Simply remain unwavering in your assumption, knowing it is done. The world you see is only a reflection of your inner state. Change that state, and the world must change as well. This is the law. This is your power. Move forward with this certainty in mind and heart. Live as though your desire is already real. Watch quietly as the law arranges all things in your favor. Your manifestation is never random. It is the inevitable outcome of your sustained assumption and feeling. So, hold fast to the vision you have claimed. Return to it again and again in your quiet hours. Let it become familiar to you, as real as anything you see with your eyes. Feel its truth within you until it settles deep into your being, until doubt loses all power, until your heart rests in the certainty that it is already accomplished. Do not let outer evidence sway you. Do not be discouraged when the world seems unchanged. For the world is only a mirror reflecting the state you most consistently occupy. Remember, delay does not mean denial. It means the world is rearranging itself to make your assumption fact. Be patient with that process. Stay faithful to the end you have chosen. This law is exact and impartial. It responds to you without judgment, giving form to the assumptions you hold. What you accept within must appear without. You are not at the mercy of chance or fate. You are the operant power. You are the one who decides what you will claim as true. And life must echo that claim. So choose carefully. Assume boldly. Do not be timid in imagining the best for yourself, for there is no limit except the one you accept. Let your imagination be disciplined and clear. Return to it daily with intention and feeling. Make the assumption so alive within you that it becomes your natural state. Then watch quietly, confidently, as the world reshapes itself. not through effort or struggle, but through the unchanging law that what you assume to be true must become your experience. This is the promise. This is the power given to you. Use it well.